Hey guys, I just wanted to give you some information about the Beretta 92X RDO optics mounting plates, and this would also apply to the M9A4s. You can see that this mounts your optic very high. There's no chance you would ever get a co-witness. Yeah, you can see the bottom of the plate, or the top of the plate, is about even with the top of the rear sight. Yeah, so you would not get a co-witness unless you had super high sights. That'll never happen, really. I do have some stories about mounting on this thing. So the good, real quick, the mount is super secure. That plate, once it goes on there, it's not moving. The bad, well, the bad is much longer than the good, okay? So aside from if you can deal with the height, this is my second plate. The first plate is destroyed and at the dump, and I'll tell you why. Okay, so the first optics plate that I had, I got right when they first came out. I paid for that one. They're $29 on Beretta's website, and I paid for it so that I could get it quickly. That plate, I will say, it came with 4 screws. 2 screws to secure the plate to the gun, and 2 screws to mount the optic to the plate. And you do, in that case, have to use Beretta's screws because they're a weird thread pitch, something like I think they're metric 3.5. Can't be sure because I don't have it anymore. But the problems with that is, those 2 screws that go in there. The Beretta screws are a hex head, not Torx, so they don't take as much torque. And the screws were coated in like a red thread locker. Not Loctite, I don't think. It looked more like a Vibratite or something. The optic mounted up just fine, but I wanted to change the optic actually. I had this one mounted originally, and it mounted up just fine. You see, this is a like Gen 1 type of Holosun with the big buttons. And this one did fit with the Beretta screws. The problem is I couldn't take it off. That Loctite or whatever and the hex head screws stripped out. And I just could not get it off no matter what. I ended up having to, well, I got the sight raised up just a little bit and I had to cut the screws off with a hacksaw. And the remnants were still in the plate. There was no way I could get those out. And so basically I ended up tossing that plate. This is my second plate, which I just got a few days ago. And this is my free plate. My coupon code finally came in, and I redeemed it for this free plate. Now this one came with only 2 screws, the ones to secure the plate to the gun. And, at first I thought I was missing some screws, but instead I checked and I used the screws that came with the optic, and those fit this one. So they've changed the thread pitch to, I believe it's 632 that comes with the Holosun. The good things about that are, those screws will fit the optic, the top of the optic body, and Holosun supplies Torx screws, which just much better than hex. One thing is I wanted to replace that other Holosun with this one because this is the ACSS with the ring, and not having the iron sights co-witness, I thought that would be helpful. I do want to say, yeah, this optic is just short of ridiculously high, but without making modifications to the pistol, you see, the optic plate looks super thick there, but due to the curve of the slide here, the plate actually can't get much lower or thinner. You really have to do modifications like Langdon Tactical did, and Beretta, I guess, didn't want to do that or license it. So, is there hope to get a lower mounted optic on this Beretta 92 series? Well, Holosun's come out with their new SCS type sights, which are specifically made to direct mount on pistols, and that allows them to sit much lower. You don't need a plate. And they've already announced that they're coming out with SCS sights for Glock, Smith & Wesson M&P, HK VP9, CZP10, IWI Masada, and Canik. So they haven't announced Beretta yet, but if they can figure it out and make one for this gun, I think that's our best hope for getting a reasonably low sight. If you could imagine the rear of the sight sitting down here, that would be a big improvement. So please help us out, Holosun. Alright, that's all I've got. Thanks for watching.